I programmed control systems for power plants, and then went pretty much to management in these companies that I worked for. Did this for 15 years, and then I stumbled over crypto 10 years ago, and was very interested in in the tech behind it. And then as Ethereum emerged, that's how we met first time, where I invited them for dinner in 2014 in Vienna. And I told them, I wanted to explain to them how energy market works, which is incredibly complex. And that's somehow how we started working. So while they were working on Ethereum, we did a lot of research, how could we apply this technology to lower the transaction fees in the energy market by 99%. And down the road, 2 years, Ethereum got launched in 15, and in 16 we then Gav launched parity, ETH at that time, and grid singularity. And Gav, was my inspiration because the work that he does is very abstract. And so what my challenge always was, how can we take these abstract things and transform this into business and make business more efficient? And so we launched, so we initiate Energy Web. Could you please pull up the, yeah. So what is Energy Web? Energy Web is, as we saw Ethereum evolving and kind of opening up, it was clear for us that a regulated market like the energy market, they will not go on Ethereum, because a regulator would never, allow something on Go technology where they can't see, where they don't know who's the validator, or, if systems can fork, like it happened in Bitcoin or in Ethereum, and so forth. So this would be a no-go for energy regulators. And so Gav came up with an idea how we could create a consortium, a technology for a consortium where we have known validators, known parties that create the network, and but anyone could use the network. So anyone literally can utilize the network. So what you see here behind me, this is the live network of Energy Web. It's the only, and actually the largest kind of consortium chain, where all those companies here from Shell, the largest companies in the world and startups, they create the chain. And majority of the certificates of origin or all kind of energy trading related things are already happening on this chain. Now we knew that this chain at that time, Gav built the technology. I did the political task of creating this consortium. It was growing fairly fast. And what we did in this consortium is we did task forces, we created frameworks, how to track electricity, how to deal with identities of energy assets. And that all happened 5 years ago. Well, the thing is, we never went on any crypto stages talking about it. In energy, pretty much everyone knows us. In crypto, nobody knows us, because we were really focusing only on real business. And so what happened was this technology, this is one chain. One chain has a limited bandwidth for transactions. And this technology that we used here, the proof of authority chain, the validators are the authorities, it got copied many times. So for now there is a lot of like Binance, Ronin, and a lot of chains that actually copied this technology from us. And what else happened is that, for example, a lot of these corporates in the last few years, they made a lot of application-specific chains, because there is a bunch of applications where you don't need to put the data on the public chain. Let me give you an example. So there's the two largest banks in France and the two largest utilities, EDF and Engie. They created a chain together with 4 validators, where Engie and EDF, they're hashing, they're making a kind of a digital print of all the invoices, and the banks, they're using these digital prints to do KYC, to understand who's the party that is applying for a bank account. 30% of all the applications to the banks are forged, and so they brought down the KYC cost from €10 to €3 per person. So that is, and there is a lot of these application-specific kind of chains which essentially copied the technology from us. And now comes Polkadot in the game. Here is where Polkadot comes into the game. From the beginning we thought that this technology, it will fill the gap for a few years where we can help corporates onboarding into this technology, but at one point in time the bandwidth will not suffice anymore. And we knew that there will be a lot of those application-specific chains happening. and that is pretty much kind of kicking off exponentially right now. We have 250 companies in this thing, a lot of application-specific chains, and the corporates slowly realize, wait a second, actually this digital print of the invoice I could be using for something else. But how can I take my data from one chain to another chain? And that is that, you can do that technically, but you have to build another chain, which is the bridge between the chains. And that is technically a bit challenging because it's a trust point. And Gav had the idea, coming from Ethereum, and he built Ethereum essentially. The Polkadot vision was essentially they brought everything inside. And maybe Gav, you explain yourself, what was, how you derived from Ethereum to Polkadot. The architecture is a perfect match where we now can bring all those application-specific chain together that is connecting to this chain, and then all the markets can cross-communicate, bring assets from one chain to the others, and that is something that Polkadot will enable. We are in the upgrade right now, so we hope the upgrade will happen in the next few months. What we will start to see then is a Cambrian explosion of innovation, because then we can stack finally applications on top of each other, meaning it will become cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and shorter to innovate. So the first thing that we actually do at EnergyWeb is we have a couple of country deals on country level with regulators. So there is one deal, for example, with Australia, with the Australian regulator and transmission system operator. In 2 years, all the asset identities and data access management will run on this chain. It's a done deal. And we have 6 other countries where this is already, it will basically become law that this technology is being used. And then those chains through Polkadot can start talking to each other. And so once you have the identities, the second is the trading. Once you can authenticate trading, then you can plug in the whole decentralized finance on top of it, refinancing, lending, and so forth. That is already happening in Polkadot.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And guys, we have Polkadot and EnergyWeb token that's going to help move along this singularity, where the machines will be able to run everything without a human involved. And we know energy is changing. Of course, the NWO believes 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So we see electric vehicles on the back burner, but guys, we know they don't want private vehicles anyway. They want all these cars self-driving. But if you look at Ethereum, remember Ethereum went from proof of work to proof of stake for this very reason. And now with this next upgrade, transaction fees will be cut. And also will make transactions a lot faster. And we know DeFi is definitely the new banking. And we have Elon Musk says that the robots that he's building, humanoid robots, they can do everything a human can do. Yes, I know it sounds like a movie, but remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. Those who have my NWO book, those who been me from the beginning, I've been telling you over and over and over again, but on this channel, I let you hear it from the horse's mouth first, and then I just narrate around it. You guys know I give you the truth, nothing but the truth. Yes, the truth hurts, but it sets you free. And my people perish from the lack of knowledge. Guess why? Because they reject it. Not because it's not there. They'd rather be distracted on things that don't matter. And then, guys, we have Bitcoin. Of course, we get a lot of predictions because Bitcoin is over 60,000. Now it's 100,000. Now it's 200,000. But guys, the only thing we have to do is look as the Fed is right behind it. Because when we actually look, it's only been 6 billion in these ETFs. But guys, we've been moving up hundreds of billions. And it hasn't just been Bitcoin moving up. There has been hundreds of tokens that have been dragged up. that have no real use case. And that means the Tether movie, guys, is right around the corner. Because when we look at the halving, when we look at Tether, we can see the Fed pumping it every single time. And where did they pump it from? That's right, Tether. Guys, we've been this long enough. The only thing we had to do was watch Tether, and we saw Bitcoin move on up. Yes, we have a lot more institutions in, plus we have a lot more futures products here. So the casino has been open. But overall, guys, this pump has came from Tether, and we know Tether has been buying U.S. Treasuries. And we know what's about to happen to that dollar. We know the BRICS nations are about to pull the rug on the United States. It's going to be the rise of China, the dragon, along with that digital yuan, backed by that digital SDR, and the fall of America to Babylon, right along with the United States' world reserve currency. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Bigger than any gold rush that has ever existed. And then there will also be robots, like humanoid robots, not just sort of industrial robots we are of course familiar with. You use industrial robots, we use industrial robots, everyone does, but they're programmed explicitly, and they don't walk around. But Tesla, for example, with the Optimus program, is making a humanoid robot that is capable of doing almost anything a human can do.
Software program doing so many things that people didn't necessarily think a machine would ever do, or at least not in their lifetime or the next 2 years. I mean, I think this has woken people up to the possibility that real thinking machines may come soon.
Bull, welcome back to the show. We had you on last year to talk about Bitcoin. Back then you said you were very bullish on the potential for Bitcoin. Right now you're giving us some interesting price targets. 100,000 by the end of 2024, 200,000 by the end of 2025. What are the catalysts for this nearly 2-year rally?
Right now, as you just mentioned, it's the ETFs. You've had huge inflows. The inflows to the new 9 is $14 billion. The net inflow, once you take Grayscale out, which has had selling so far, is about $6 billion already. It's about 110,000 new Bitcoins are being held in a net sense with the new 9 minus the Grayscale outflow. So that's driving us right now. Obviously, we also have the halving coming up. We're about 6 weeks away from that as well. So I suspect we'll print a fresh all-time high right around the time of the halving, perhaps even before that, given the price action over the past week or so. And then as we head through this year, we should also see the broader market, i.e. Fed rate cuts probably by the middle of the year as well. That should continue to help. So we have the ETF inflows, the halving. We have the Fed likely to help us as well down the track. We have this growth narrative, which seems to be helping lift all stocks as well at the moment. So really everything heading in the right direction.
About the entire crypto market, it's largely because of the ancillary market Tether. And Tether has about a $96 billion market cap. And what's interesting, guys, is that JP Morgan just a few days ago, January 22nd, here's the headline. JP Morgan warns of increased risk for crypto market due to Tether's lack of regulatory compliance and transparency. They also mentioned that rapid expansion could create problems. Now, Tether has had a significant fine, $40 million from the CFTC back in 2021, and also the New York Attorney General. So people that are super bullish on the crypto market ought to really take a look at Tether.
6 weeks from now, the new Bitcoins that come from the mining process will halve. So right now, that comes in at about 6.25 each time. That's going to halve. So literally the inflation rate, which is right now about 1.7% in new coins year on year, it's going to go down to about 0.8%. So that's one very large positive. You also see in the mining community, you tend to see consolidation around that. Miners have been buying new, much more productive, efficient computers over the past 12 months. So that also helps. So that's why the halving process is very important. It's been a catalyst in previous cycles. But of course, this time we have the ETF inflow as well. So ETF inflow plus halving 100,000. If anything, my targets are now starting to look too conservative.
Halvening has historically created up cycles in Bitcoin prices. There's no doubt about that. And that's an issue that is certainly favorable. But I feel like this underlying issue, people have talked about this Tether issue for a while. And really, this is a huge deal that JP Morgan provided this warning right now. And so if you look at Tether, from what I understand, they're still not doing audits. They're doing attestations. Now, think about that. How about audits, not attestations? And they're doing these attestations every quarter. There ought to be more than that.
Okay.
People need to come out and ask, where are the audits?
The core use case for Bitcoin is an alternative to the broader financial conditions, right? So when the Fed and other central banks were printing money in 2020, that obviously helped Bitcoin push quite a lot higher because there was slightly less trust in the traditional financial system, if you like, in terms of central banks. We saw that last year as well, where we had problems with SVB, et cetera, in March. Right now, inflation isn't really too much of a problem. Rate cuts will help, but so long as the economy remains strong, which it looks like it is, and inflation doesn't reaccelerate to the top side, i.e. we don't get rate hikes from the Fed anytime in this cycle, I think it's fine.
Inflation being higher is definitely good for Bitcoin. We were actually bullish with our small hedge fund Bitcoin back in 2020, and we rode Bitcoin from 10,000 to about 50,000. So we're not always bear on Bitcoin. Definitely we have fiat money today, so hold gold instead.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.